friends, welcome back to a brand new video. For those of you who are new, hello, my name is Jess. Pleasure to meet you. Now, I cannot believe that August has almost come to a close. We have one more day. It is August 30th right now, so it's technically Monday. And I cannot believe that September is almost here, which means we have a September TBR to show you guys. Now, it's not that big of a TBR. I'm kind of, I wouldn't say limiting myself at how much I can read this month. I just have a lot going on. I have 2 weddings, I have a bunch of work. We have just a lot of things house-wise that are coming up. And so I don't want to like overwhelm myself with the TBR, but I think these books are going to be read. Maybe we might have some bonus reads of other things that are on my shelf. Now, before we get into that, please pull up some coffee or tea, grab that in your hand. Currently it's Monday morning for me, so coffee is a must. In order for me to get through today, I need coffee in my bloodstream. So I will be waiting here while you get yourself a cup of joe or a cup of tea. Welcome back. I hope you have a cup of joe, cup of tea, whatever the case may be, and you're ready to dive deep into my TBR. As I mentioned before, some of these books I actually spoke about in my last video, so I'll link that video above me. But just long story short, these are books that I want to read before the year ends, just because these are books that have been so hyped up that I've honestly been wanting to read. It's just that I've either been too scared to start them, or honestly I've just been lazy. So these are just books that I'm gonna kind of get to you first, and then there are a couple towards the end that aren't on this list, but I still want to enjoy in the month of September. The first book I want to mention is Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. Now technically I just started reading this yesterday. Yes, it's in the month of August, but I thought for the majority of this reading I'm actually going to do it in the month of September, so that's why it's included in my September TBR. Now for those of you who don't know what this book is about, we follow the main character Naomi, who was tasked by her father to visit her cousin Catalina at her home. Now Catalina recently got married to an Englishman, and the whole family just thought it was kind of crazy because it was very short notice, their relationship and especially the marriage, but no one really thought of it, especially Naomi, because it had been quite some time since she really spoke to her. However, out of the blue, Catalina sends a letter to her father and is kind of urging him and Naomi to bail her out of her new home. She's saying that her husband is poisoning her, she's hearing things, she can see ghosts through the wall, etc, etc, and that makes Naomi's father really nervous. So he tells Naomi, hey, you need to check up on your cousin to see about her well-being. Is her husband actually like this evil guy who's actually poisoning her, or is there something mentally wrong with Catalina and we need to further like look into that? So Naomi goes, and this is the part where I'm just like ending. I haven't gotten that far into the book, but basically she visits Catalina, and the place is called High Place. So it's a mansion of some sort, like a Gothic mansion sitting on top of a mountainside in the countryside of Mexico. That was a lot to say, but yeah, I think ultimately I'm gonna love this book. I love the writing so far. It's very straight and to the point. There is no like what ifs and like philosophical type of stuff. And as far as Naomi's character, she does come from a bougie and privileged family, but there's nothing about her character that I don't like yet. Like, she seems pretty agreeable and seems to me to be like making sense of like her actions and like what she says. So I'm looking forward to finishing this book probably in the next couple of days. It does seem like it's a very quick read. I think it's like barely 300 or 301 pages. Yeah, it's a very short book, but I'm excited to get started with this, especially because we're in the spooky season, or at least in my head, we're technically in the spooky season now, and it's no longer summer, even though I live in the state of Texas, and we all know that Texas right now feels like it's 100 degrees. The second book I'm going to talk about is Desperate Measures by Katie Robert. Now this is a very short book. It's barely over 200 pages. Now this is a romance, basically a spin-off of the Aladdin movie. So this actually goes with Jasmine and Jafar and their relationship. Now it seems like she made a bet with Jafar somehow about her freedom and her fortune, and she lost that bet. And so now Jafar is basically punishing her because he is a villain, but it ends up that she's liking it and she's falling for him very passionately. So I'm very interested to see what this book is about. I know I said in my previous video that this was like think smut content and that I was just like highly intrigued, which I still am, and this is just, I don't know what to think about this. I did include it in September because it was giving me the spooky like villain vibe, but obviously it's also because of the romance, and I don't know how they're gonna fit that in a little over 200 pages, so I guess we're gonna get right to the point with her and Jafar. But nonetheless, I'm here for it. I know I just said that spooky vibes are here, but literally speaking, summer is still here, which means that there are a few books on my TBR list that are technically summer vibes, and I want to read them because summer is about to come to a close, and I feel like once summer ends, I'm not gonna want to read these until the following summer. So that book that kind of started this all is Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. Again, I spoke about this in my previous video, but basically this is a contemporary romance where we follow Chloe, and she has a near-death experience, and out of coming through all of that, she was like, hey, you know what, since I'm alive basically for the second time, I want to feel being bad. Like, what does it take to be a bad person? Because she's always been a goody good two-shoes. So she enlists the help of Red, but his name is Redford Morgan, which is this dude, and he's just your overall badass, right? So he's gonna teach her how to become a bad person, but of course in doing so they're going to develop some lovely relationship, and that's about all I know about this book. I did technically start it towards the beginning of summer, but honestly I have to reread most of it because I forgot about it, and it's been a long time. So this is one of the final summer books I think that I'm gonna have my hands on before the fall season commences. We have another summer romance on this list, you guys, and that is Eleanor, Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. So in this book we follow Eleanor. Now she is an introvert. She really doesn't have a lot of social skills, doesn't really have a lot of friends. In fact, she has a normal routine pretty much every day. She lives a boring life, and one day she meets this cute bumbling IT guy. His name's Raymond, and her life basically falls apart because of him. Not in a bad way, I don't think, but in a good way, like in a romantic, building a relationship of sorts good way. And so in this book we're gonna kind of see her and Raymond become good friends, maybe develop a huge relationship, I don't know, but this is supposed to be kind of a quirky, fun, all-around good read, and I'm excited to hop into this sometime this month. Up next we have The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. Now this does in fact give me cozy autumn September vibes, so we're here for it. Now I really don't know what else to say about this book other than the fact that we followed Nora, who either has a near-death experience or she's died, or I don't know, sometimes she's caught in the like world of life and death, and she ends up at the Midnight Library, which this place holds books that contain different lives of Nora, and so she can actually be enabled to read these books and see how her life would have gone if she chosen different actions in her current life. And with doing so, she of course obviously reacts differently to everyone around her. She meets new people, etc, etc. And of course with the Midnight Library, with the help of a friend, she can kind of pick and choose which parts of each book, I'm guessing, that she really likes to basically make her perfect life. However, in doing so, something dangerous happens, and she's putting her life and the Midnight Library itself in a dangerous path. So of course we're gonna see in this book how I guess Nora kind of combats that and kind of asks herself the ultimate question of like, what is the best life to live, which I thought that was really cute in what the synopsis said towards the end. So I'm super excited to read this. It's very intriguing. I know that everyone talks about this book all of the time. It's on everyone's like either to be read list, or they've already read it and they rated it 5 stars. So I definitely think that this is going to live up to the hype, and it is a very short book, so I think I'm going to get through this rather quickly. And I also heard that this is also kind of a feel-goodsy book, which I'm definitely here for, because the house in the Cerulean Sea had a very like good feely vibe to it, and I think this will as well. And I'm, like I said, I'm here for it, you guys. I think it's gonna be stunning, and yeah. Okay, we have another romance summer read. I honestly feel like September is just going to be a mix of cozy autumn reads and then basically all the summer reads that I really need to get to, because like I said before, once summer ends, like I don't want to have any feel-goodsy summer vibes. Like I want either all the cozy, all the sadness, all the thrillers, and all the spooky. So next up on this list is The Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. Now I think this is going to be a very cute book. Again, this had high ratings on Goodreads, and I just see a lot of people talk about it and they just loved the vibe of this book. They loved the overall theme and the main characters. So I'm excited to see what this is all about. Now, if you've never seen this or you've never heard of it, we follow 2 characters. So we follow Olive and Ethan. Now, Olive has a twin sister, Amy, and basically you can see them as Olive never really had like the best life. Everything came hard to her, and then Amy's like the perfect twin, right? Like everything goes her way. Now, Amy is about to get married, and so at the wedding, she and Ethan are, I think, are like either the maid of honor, the best best man or something like that, but they're really close to the bride and the groom. And everything is kind of hunky-dory, fine and dandy until the next day, the bride and the groom and basically everyone else in the wedding got food poisoning. So that really sucks, except for Ethan and Olive. Now the bride and groom were like, hey, like everyone's sick and we have like this, I think it's 10 days. Yeah, it's 10 days of vacation. It's a honeymoon in Maui. And they're like, why don't y'all take it? Because this money is just gonna say bye-bye if like no one goes on this vacation. Of course, Ethan's like, yes, I'm gonna go. And Olive basically is like, well, Ethan's not gonna have all of this fun by himself. So she goes as well. And during the 10 days, they basically tell each other that they're gonna be fake lovers and enjoy just this honeymoon experience. But of course, as all, what is it, like enemies to, well, I guess, yeah, they're enemies to lovers or like fake dating trope, she is going to fall first for him. And basically she's gonna love the fact that, you know, she's pretending, but she wants it to be real. So during this book, we're gonna basically see the enemies to lovers and the fake dating trope come to life. Super exciting. The last book that I'm gonna talk to you about is technically a summer like beach read, but it classifies as a spooky thriller because of what it is, and that is That Summer by Jennifer Weiner. If you have never seen or heard about this book, we follow two characters, Daisy and Diana, which Daisy I feel like is the main character, the main POV that we're gonna see. And if you've never heard about what this is, so Daisy is just kind of like your overall perfect person, right? Like she has a thriving cooking business, she has the perfect husband, she has a good family in the suburbs, basically like everything that you would imagine a good suburban mom has. However, there's downsides to that. So like her daughter, I guess, is rebelling, her husband and her don't really talk that much, and sometimes like her life could just be boring. And then one day she gets like an email that wasn't meant for her. It was meant for a lady named Diana. And quite quickly, I think Daisy starts imagining how Diana lives, and she's thinking that this lady is like traveling the world and like eating fine foods and going shopping. Like she is that girl. Like she is the it girl that I think all, you know, at one point in time, like all of us kind of wanted to be like Diana. And so Daisy just has this like great picture in her head. Well, of course, through communication, they find out like Daisy wasn't the actual like proper person who the email should have been to, and they end up meeting, they end up becoming friends, and I think they become quite close. However, this is where the thriller spooky part comes. There's something off about Diana, and we as the reader, I think, see how Diana really knows Daisy, like either in a past life or there's something about her that she wants or like needs from. I have no clue. And so I think that like Diana's like super sinister, and that we're gonna see how Daisy basically walks into something that she probably shouldn't have opened, and the life that she imagined Diana having is not the life at all that Diana actually lives. So I'm super intrigued. I think honestly the cover is stunning. I know it's simple looking, but first of all, the letters are very glossy, and I just love the way it feels like texture wise. And I think that this right here, like the main character, I don't know, I think this is Daisy, that might be Diana. The fact that they're not looking at us like makes it super spooky and sinister, but it also gives me summer beach read, which I guess technically it is because it's in the cave, and it just looks overall beautiful. So I don't know, it's kind of sitting on summer reads and spooky reads for me. But yeah, this book is going to be really interesting. I can't wait to pick it up. All right guys, that completes today's TBR video. I know that there wasn't that many books. I think there was 7 in total. However, I know this month is going to be really crazy, so I didn't want to kind of overexert myself in how much I could possibly read this month. However, please note that if I do in fact finish these books, if I can just like power through it this month, of course there are going to be others that are basically added to this list, which you'll either hear about in other videos and reading vlogs, or even over on my Instagram channel. I'll definitely keep y'all updated about that. But for now, it's just these 7 books, and I feel like this was a perfect mix of like ending summer and then starting autumn. Like I don't know, like I just feel like this is kind of like a neat and smooth transition from one season to the next. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, share if you really enjoyed it and want to show your family and friends. I would really appreciate that. But for now, I'm going to end this video here, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.